It's 11. It's 2.
It's
What are you
11.
talking about?
What are you
It's
talking
2.
about? 2.
It's 2.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning. It
It's
is
2
not
p.m.
2 p.m. in the afternoon. It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, man, it's 2 p.m.
Your time is
You
wrong.
can tell that it's 2 p.m. because I am the boss. And I'm telling you, I look out the window, and it's 2
That's
p.m. You
11
can
o'clock
see it. It's
light.
all blown up. Anyway, hi everybody.
Hello,
So,
everybody.
yeah, let's just apologies for yesterday's. It wouldn't be a state of the sim if we didn't have some kind of fuck up with the sound. And so that's what happened. We had a fuck up with the sound. Oh well. Anyway,
OBS.
so
That's what
all
we're blaming it on.
fixed. Yeah, it's DeAndre. It's all. I'm
Uh-huh.
pointing at
Uh-huh.
him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Anyway, so listen. Let's get started.
Lot to cover today.
Yeah, lots to cover. So the first thing is the T6A. So we know that our rollout had a little bit of a rocky start. So we've done a couple of hot fixes. We're going to do a couple more. Um, we are almost finished fixing all of the major issues, and I believe those have been released. We do have a couple of power curve issues that we're working on. Those we're planning on releasing in the last week of August. And once those are done, we're going to toss it over to the marketplace. So expect that towards the end of August. Right. So next, well, I'm sure you've seen it. The Skycrane is going into MSFS 2024. Wow. I love that helicopter. DeAndre and I actually went to somewhere in California in the desert, and we got into one of them, and that was pretty wild, right, D? I mean, you got some great shots. We were in that helicopter, and that is one big, big helicopter. It's huge. Yeah, show him a pic. Yeah. So that's the pilot. He's like 80 years
He's
old.
like 80
He's been
something years
flying
old,
those
this
things for,
guy.
yeah, he's been flying them for like 43 years. Yeah, that was pretty wild. Anyway, so yeah, he started up the bird, didn't take it off, legal issues.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun, and yeah, it's gonna be great. We can't really discuss it further, but yeah, it looks good. It looks really good, and we're quite pleased with it. Um, so Merlin, can you start up the SR-71, and
That's me
we're gonna
starting
show
up
you
the
some pics.
SR-71. Let's go to the
Go to the
here.
loopy thing.
There we go.
Nice.
There she is.
So the Blackbird, the SR-71A. So first, we're going to be doing a dev diaries. Merlin is going to be handling that. On that's going to be our first one. Will be on this aircraft, and the lead dev, who is Dutch Owens, and he is going to be talking about this aircraft and what's going in and what's being done now and where we are. But I can tell you that this aircraft, this, given the name, of course, it's going to be, a premier product. It's going to be number one. There are no other aircraft like this one. Yeah, it is awesome. It really is awesome. We've started flight modeling, and for this aircraft, surprisingly, the flight modeling is easy in the supersonic phase, but in the transonic and subsonic, it's difficult because the plane actually wallows quite a bit slower. It's not designed to fly slow. We're going to have the refueling thing, and yeah, it's going to be cool. It's going to be really, really cool.
You want to talk about
So
the procedure immediately after departure? What's going to be included?
Oh yeah, so I think we talked about this briefly before, but just in
Yeah.
case, When you take off in the real bird, you actually have to refuel. You have to tank. And in this one, you're gonna have to tank unless you choose easy mode and you just fill up your fuel, which you can do, or you can, try and hook up with the tanker. So there was an 80% washout rate for this aircraft because of refueling. If you look actually on the top of that aircraft, you can see where the refuel port is. It's about 30 feet behind or 25 feet behind the main cockpit. So it's really hard to tank. Plus, mostly they did their tanking in radio silence. So there was no comms, no chatter. You hooked up. They knew you were going to be there. They were at the right place. You did your boom work, you took off, right, at high speed. So, yeah, we're going to have, we have a whole bunch of stuff I think we talked about already, but just to reiterate, we had Brian Scholl and Walt, his RSO, do, like back and forth and chatter, and we recorded it, and it's going to have everything in it. We're throwing everything at this aircraft. It is going to be really, really cool. I mean, it's already really cool. Like Merlin, when we loaded it up, his first words were, "This is the bomb," or "sick," or some young person.
This is epic, I said.
Epic. That's it. Epic. Right.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
It's pretty cool looking. So we're hoping. No promises, fingers crossed. We're hoping for a Christmas 2025 release. It will definitely be going into 2024. Probably not into 2020, just given the fact that coding for two sims is extremely unpalatable. We don't want to do it. So unless it can be easily dropped back to 2020, the likelihood of us doing it for 2020 is very low. All right, so we talked about that. All right, pull up.
Can I chime in here really quick?
Yep.
Yeah, of course.
Right, so you kind of briefly talked about it, but I just want to go into a little bit more. We mentioned we're going to be starting a series called Dev Diaries. And essentially what that's going to be is, think of them as small pocket videos that we're going to do on different aspects of the various aircraft we're working on, and what stage they're currently at. So the difference between State of the Sim is that State of the Sim is going to be the general big updates that we really just want to go through all the different products that we're currently working on. But the Dev Diaries are going to focus on different aspects of each individual aircraft. So just for an example, our first Dev Diary will be next week, next Friday, and it will explore the overall model of the SR-71 and the various, little Easter eggs and details in there. And this is just to give you guys kind of more continuous updates in between the State of the Sims. And we're going to try to push for one a week on different aircraft. No promises, though, because, obviously sometimes we can get, stuck in different coding cycles, and there's not much point of showing anything new there. But yeah, this is going to be a very fun new series to show you guys where we're at in the development with different aircraft. Okay, back to you guys.
So before we move on real quick, Colin, there are some quick questions I thought we would just touch on really quickly. There's a question about the
Someone's
T6.
asking.
Oh, go ahead, Marlon.
Oh, well, someone was also asking if we're going to be looking for testers for the SR-71.
So the answer to that is not really. And the reason for that is we actually have some of the now extremely old, yes, very true, but still capable SR-71 pilots who are going to actually test this. So they'll be the ones who decide whether or not it works as it's supposed to. Obviously, we're going to test it internally, But no, at this point, I think we have enough testers specifically for this bird. I think we're good. But thank you for your offer. It is appreciated.
Okay.
Someone's also asking when we can expect the T6 to come to marketplace.
End of August.
End of August.
Yeah, not before that, because we don't want to release it until we have the power curve fixed. And so that's what we're waiting on. The guy who does the flight profile is on vacation until mid-August, and as soon as he's back, he will fix it. So that's what we're waiting for. I don't want to release it to the marketplace until that's done. Anything else?
Are we getting dirty now?
I think we can get dirty.
All
Let's
right.
do
Let's
it.
get dirty.
There's the Dirty 30.
So this bad boy, this bad boy has proven to be complicated to transfer to MSFS from P3D. I'm not talking about the model. The model is a completely new model. Please ignore the prop blur. We know that the prop blur is bad. Thank you. Moving on. We're doing the long, we're doing the short. We have, I believe, four different cockpit variations. Are those is this looping? Is this
Yeah, it's
playing?
supposed to be looping. I'm not sure what's going on. It doesn't look like it is.
Hmm.
Let me
Oh.
let me work on this while you talk about it.
Okay, so it has four different cockpit variations. We have, but you're not going to be able to, fly the aircraft from the rear seats, where the WSOs and all the other type of people would sit. You can fly it from the pilot or from the co-pilot. Thank you. That's great. So as you can see, the systems are actually in there. And we got furry seats. Yay! Those are so awesome. They look so cool in VR. The HUDs are working. We're not doing an ACJ because we did one for SOCOM, and we can't legally do so. So here's a different version of the cockpit. We have four different versions. We have the one with the sleeping arrangements. That's the one I would pick because I like to sleep. So we are still working on drops and how we're going to do that. This is definitely going to be a 2024 product and not a 2020. We believe we do have a change on this particular product, and that is we believe that we have now fixed it such that it will not require an injector. So it's not going to be like the Phoenix. We will be able to sell it on the marketplace, and you will be able to run it without the injection. Fingers crossed that actually works, because it's still in its initial test phase, but we're pretty sure. Long, short, we're going to do the long, we're going to do the short. We've got, I think, 30 plus liveries. The thing looks freaking awesome. I mean, and all those screens, you can pop them out, which is pretty cool. The FMS is exactly like the real one. It's cool. It is very, very cool. We're quite happy with the way it's progressing. I don't have a timeline for this, but we're going to do a dev diary on this fairly soon. And it's pretty cool. So any questions on this?
For some reason,
Someone
this is
asked what
not
the Phoenix
looping.
is.
Phoenix is a company that did some Airbus, and they use an injector, so they can't sell it on the marketplace. An injector, basically what it does is it allows the software, the product, to run in the background at all times in ways that MSFS doesn't allow when you're hitting the marketplace. So, but we want to be able to hit the marketplace, so I can't guarantee that this is going to work on the Xbox, though, because quite honestly, there are a lot. I mean, you can see how many screens there are. There's a lot going on here. And each one of those screens can be, as you can see, different phases of flight ops. So, what that means is that they're all running at the same time. If you're on an Xbox X or even an Xbox X or an Xbox S, I can't guarantee that it won't be a slideshow. I do know that on a 2080, we're getting 35 to 45 frames per second. On a 3090, we're getting 68, and on a 4090, we're getting 90, and that's with a lock, right? So, quite good frame rates now that we've fixed the problem that we were having before, yeah, it is awesome to get into that cockpit and just go in VR. It's like, whoa, this is cool. It really is cool. So we're quite pleased with the way this thing has turned out. So any questions?
Someone's asking if there will be a civilian variant.
So the answer to that is we're not going to redo the cockpit for either or. The FMS will be slightly different for the long versus the short, so that the fuel stuff and the CG stuff is different. But otherwise, the cockpit will stay the same. We may do a couple of civilian liveries, but the intention is to potentially allow it to do water drops because the Air Force actually does firefighting, and they've expressed an interest in using this aircraft for their firefighting training, which is pretty cool. But an actual civilian cockpit, no, that's not going to happen.
Any other questions?
Anything else?
We also got a question saying, so if this works, does this open up the possibility of the T-38 also not being an injection?
So the T-38 was never going to be injection. However, the T-38C we've put a pause in it while we redo the flight profile. So I'm not 100% sure when it will be released, but we have definitively paused it for the moment. And there's some other legal issues that we're dealing with that one. So I can't discuss those. But yeah, we have to wait. So we're waiting. So anything else?
I see
someone's asking.
Yep. Go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
Oh, I see someone's asking
saying,
when is the T-38A expected to be done, and all we can say is we can't say.
We can't say.
We can't say.
We can't say on that one. So as much as I'd like to, talk about the T-38A or C, we can't really discuss those. So take that as you will.
Exactly.
Let's move on.
Merlin, was there anything else that you?
Well, someone's asking about the UH-1H, so maybe we could talk about that very briefly.
Sure. So,
and I stress it's the UH-1H.
Use your words carefully, Colin.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to choose my words very carefully. Yeah. So, yes, we know about the competition's UH-1H. We are aware. We've seen it. We've looked at it. Do we think we can do a better job? Well, duh, of course. But I know I'm not dissing his product. I think it's a fine product. We are not pausing. We're not stopping our development. We're moving ahead with it. Um, I can't speak to a release date, but I will say it is going to be really, really good. So it's important to remember that, you know, we actually do Air Force training for the TH-1H, and that software is very close to one-to-one. So much so that I believe they're actually doing an FAA certification on it. So because the TH-1H and the UH-1H are so similar, you know, the tail rotor is different. It's a push instead of a pull. The avionics are obviously different. The TH-1H is all glass. And the horsepower is different. The UH-1H has 1,200 and the TH-1H has 1,600. So there's a slight difference, but they fly the same, like pretty much, other than the power ratio. So the TH-1H has a little bit better lift, a little bit better torque, but they fall out of the sky the same. So autos, blade stall, all that stuff is in, and you know, like, and you can control it, right? You can decide whether you want failures. You can practice your failures, just like the USAF does with theirs. You know, so it's essentially going to be the same software. As to whether or not we do a TH-1H, who knows? I don't know. We'll have to see. And I think that that wraps up the UH-1H. Oh, it's going to have weapons, lots of weapons. It's going to have the Fortunate Son button somewhere over here, I think it is. You push that and it'll play Fortunate Son. You can do your pretending. Yeah.
Colonel Fork 85 is saying, will the UH have visible weapons?
Yes, it will, but not obviously in the marketplace. We are looking at, because this is going to be a 2024 product, we are looking at adding the capability as an add-on. So you would buy it on the marketplace and then buy the download the add-on from our store and then install it. That would allow you to do it. You know, we're looking at this. I think we're going to be able to do it. You would be able to work that on a PC, but not on an Xbox. So the answer is yes, but with some minor caveats.
Anything, Merlin? Merlin.
You're on mute.
Bueller.
You're on mute.
Okay. Classic talking to myself. Someone asked, will the long variant J30 be available on initial release or as a separate release?
So, because they use the same cockpit, and the systems are ever so slightly different, fuel ratio, weight, CG, the likelihood that there'll be different products is, for all intents and purposes, zero. Right now, what we're working with is the short. So that would probably be released initially, but no, we're not going to do it as two separate products. It'll be the same product stream, same product SKU. It'll, you know, the long will probably be released. It really depends on how 2024 handles people jumping out of aircraft. You know, like we'll have to see how that works, you know. So we are looking at that. Sorry, I just have to handle my child here. That's it. So yeah, that's it's going to be the same product. it is. Whether it's released at the same time, who knows? We'll have to see. But yeah, definitely the same product. We're not gonna try and ding you twice for the same thing. You know, I mean, okay, it's 30 feet longer, but you know, is that worth an extra $60? Oh, did I just give the price? No, I did not. So you know, we're not going to ding you for that. No, it's going to be the same product. So you buy one, you get two. All right. Next.
What number comes before 1?
Huh. 0. That one.
You
yet.
fell right into that, didn't you?
That one. Yeah, we gotta talk about the Skyraider.
Ah, okay. Oh, you know what?
So,
that's right. Hang on.
So the Skyraider, just briefly, we did sell it, but it is back in the pipeline. So not our pipeline, but somebody else's pipeline. So they are actively beginning it. So congratulations to them, and you know, you guys will see a Skyraider at some point, probably in 2025. So fingers crossed that you know, it's going to look great, but we just don't have the infrastructure to do all of what we're doing, and this stuff too, and that stuff. So yeah. So I just want to talk briefly about the Otter and the Totter, which are definitely coming soon-ish. Again, those will be a 2024 product. The plane, we just remodeled it in the same style technique as the T6A, which is, you know, just adds so much detail, that honestly, it looks so good. And you're actually going to see in a couple of minutes, you're going to see the Zero, which uses the same technique, and that looks, yeah, it looks freaking awesome. So the Turbo, the Totter and the Otter, we hope, fingers crossed again, for a Christmas release, either Christmas or Valentine's Day. Yeah, we're moving ahead. I just want to briefly touch before we jump on to the Zero. I want to talk about the 732. So we finally made a decision as to which version we're going to do. We are not doing the analog at this time. We are going to do the Nolan Noir upgraded avionics glass with the UNS SBAS in it. That's the reference bird that we're doing, and it's going to be so cool. Like, it is. Work has started on the FMS. Work has started on the PFDs and the MFDs, and the model is being redone from scratch because, you know, we kind of liked it, but it could have been better. You know, isn't that the way, right? You do something, you wait 2 years while you're prepping your code, and then you realize, you take a look at the model and you go, it's not quite working anymore. 2 years ago was nice, but now it's like, this bird, I can't wait for this. The 30, I cannot wait for it. So 732, that's it, I think. Okay, so let's jump on the number before 1. Show those pics, man. I haven't seen these, by the way.
So something
Where is
is wrong with the looping.
Again?
I don't understand what's going on here, but yeah, they're not looping properly. There we go.
Oh.
Nope.
Okay.
Go ahead and start talking, and I'm probably gonna have to do a backup here in a second.
Okay. So the Zero. The code has started for this. We're going all the way. If you speak Japanese, give me a call, because I think we have two switches that we just have not been able to translate. And you know, we had a Japanese speaker look at it, and his reaction was, I don't know what that means. And my my picture is gone. D.
That's okay. Just keep talking. I'm gonna fix this. I don't know why it isn't
Oh,
working.
okay.
Yeah.
So the guy who did the code for the T6A, Farley, and for the D30, he is working on the Zero. So it's going to have a full-on supercharger. It's going to have all the bells and whistles that a Zero should have. We are looking at, yeah. So you can see, right. So we are looking at two. It's going to be an A6M5, I think, is the one that we decided on. And but World War II for the Japanese was not a great time for aircraft, being updated, and so the A6M5 reference bird that we're using is actually not an A6M5. It's an A6M2 with a bunch of parts from an A6M5 put onto it. That said, the intention here is to have two base birds. So one will be dirty, as it is here, and the other will be, as it was when they were flying against Pearl Harbor. So clean and well taken care of. So yeah, and we are doing the Corsair, an F4U at this time. We're redoing it, and it is going to be a new product. So even if you own the old one, you will not be getting a rebate or, because it's brand new code, brand new model. And the intention and the hope is to be able to have these two aircraft be able to fly fight. We are talking to some other developers about incorporating, what's that word that we used? Guns, I think it was. To be able to fly fight these types of warbirds in the sim. Needless to say, there's a lot of backgrounding that needs to be done in order to make that happen. So anyway, this bird we expect August, September, October, November. We're also hoping for a Christmas release. Fingers crossed that we can do it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. All the other stuff that we've talked about, the bone. Oh yeah, the bone. So the bone is so big. It's so big. It's got so many weapons in it and so many weapons capabilities that, yeah, we are still working on it. We're trying to get information on how not the CLRLS thing works, the bomb release unit, that thing, the rotation one. We know how that one works. It's the one that does this and then flops and then does that. We're trying to figure out how that works and mechanically make it happen. Also, ever so briefly, we do know about the Dino and Heatblur doing an F-16A. Our F-16C Block 5052 is still being done, probably Valentine's Day, maybe before. So, and that is BMS level because it is BMS who's doing it. So, well, not. I better be clear on that. It is not BMS, the group who's doing it, but one of their coders who is working on it. And yeah, it's going to be awesome, and you're going to love it. And I think that's it. Any questions?
Some people asked about the bone and the F-15, but we just talked about it. So if you guys have any last-minute questions,
the F-15 is coming, but slowly. So What we're doing with the F-15 is we had other priorities in the model stream, in the 3D model stream. So we had to put a pin in the 3D model for the F-15C. So the model is done, but we had to pause the paint because we needed the team to do something else for somebody else, no names mentioned. And so the code is pretty good. But the person who did the flight profile for that in P3D, we have let them go. So we're going to have to redo the flight profile. So, but we do have an F-15 pilot who has generously offered to assist us in making sure that it comes out as it's supposed to. Yeah, so it is still in the queue. It's just ever so slightly delayed because the model team had to do something else. Anything else?
Let's see here. I think that's about it.
Someone had a question about the T6 and your controls. I don't.
The T6 and what controls?
Your controls, as people are trying to fly in both cockpits.
Oh, well, you can fly. You have to use the menu to pick where you're going to fly from. If you don't use the menu, it won't work. You can't just switch to the back seat using a camera view. That's not going to work, right? And also, this is not the place for tech support. If you want tech support, when you bought the product, as it is with all products that you get direct from us, you're automatically given a link to the support forums. I suggest that you use that because, I am absolutely, and DeAndre, he and I do not do support. So to the people who call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Stop doing that. I don't like it. You wouldn't like it. Don't do it. It's rude. Anyway, next.
Shrike products.
So some of the birds that we've talked about today are definitely going to be Shrike. Which ones? I'm not willing to say at this time. I don't think we want to talk about that. The ones that I guarantee will not be will be the 732, the SR-71, and the D30. Those are definitely, and the Otter. Those ones are definitely not going to be Shrike. All the others, it remains to be seen on what our coding and development infrastructure looks like at the time, and our release dates. Here's the thing, okay? So the T6A, that took 2 years of conversion work plus making it better, so it was very, very close to 1-to-1. There's a mouse moving around on the screen. Very irritating. Thank you. So we can't afford that kind of financial expenditure on an aircraft like the T6A. Now, we did it on the T6A, for a variety of reasons, but I don't want to do that to something that is very niche. Because it's just not financially viable for us. So, as to which ones will be Shrike and which ones will not, who knows? We'll have to see. But definitely the Otter, B732, and the SR-71. Those are all going to be Blackbird and not Shrike. Anything else?
A plan? Is there a plan of moving existing products to 24?
So, I've seen some companies where they have said that, it's going to be a free, update. We're not prepared to say that yet because, honestly, we don't know enough about 2024. Now Microsoft has said that it's going to be backwards compatible, but for us, I would say, I didn't hear the word fully backwards compatible. I mean, maybe that was said. I can't be sure. But the end result is we're hoping that we can easily move them over. Now, as to whether or not it's going to have all the bells and whistles, that remains to be seen. It depends on how difficult it is to implement those and how much time, right? So, our view is more along the lines of we do want them to work in 2024, but we also don't want to spend a huge amount of time making them work in 2024 and thereby and then not get any kind of financial viability out of it. So that's not to say that we're not going to do it. It's just a question of maybe we're going to have to charge. How that's going to work, I don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know how Microsoft has said that they're making changes to the marketplace, whether those marketplace will allow for, add-ons and or updates, paid updates or paid upgrades. I don't know. We'll have to see. But it's for sure that if we were to do them, we would likely take the easiest route, right? We would not add, new stuff to it. So, for example, in the 310, we would not be adding the career mode to that aircraft or, any kind of, new fangled whatever it is, we're not going to be able to, we're not going to do that because we already have that in the 310. Well, to a certain extent, we've got wear and tear, and nobody else has done that, right? The visual wear and tear, nobody else has done that. We are still to this day the only company that's ever done an aircraft that does that, that does it well. Plus all the Easter eggs. I can't speak to what 2024 is going to be like. I just know that we're not prepared to say yay or nay to whether or not it's going to cost you money to get your 310 or your FG1D in 2024, right? So we'll have to see. Well, we don't know what 2024 is going to be like. I mean, nobody really does except for Asobo and MS, and it's easy to say, as when I heard that other companies had said, yeah, we're not going to charge for that, I'm like, well, you're taking one heck of a risk here, because what happens if it takes 3 months to do one aircraft for, yeah, that's a huge amount of overhead. Yeah. When you've got, 5-6 products in the sim, we can't afford to spend 3 months on the MD530. Besides the fact that what we, once, I know Jim, okay, I love Jim, but I know that if he opened that file, he'd be like, oh no, we have to make this better, right? And then, he'd spend literally 3 months making it better and getting it into 2024, and cost effective? No, not at all. So that's that. So, any other questions?
Someone down there said, sounds like NDA. There's NDAs all over the place. So there's a reason why when we can't talk about stuff, we can't talk about stuff.
That's it. There's a lot of stuff that A, we don't know, and B, that we're not allowed to talk about, and C, that not only we have to pretend that we don't know because we're not supposed to, it's like, it's better just to say we don't know, right? So we don't know. But there is actually a lot that we really don't know, right? So it's easy to say, yeah, NDA, but okay, we're under NDAs with, I don't know, a lot of different people. Yeah, a lot of different companies. We're under NDAs with them. They're under NDAs with us. These NDAs, they go both ways, right? So it's not just it's not just you know, us signing somebody else's NDA, it's them signing ours too, right? So anyway, moving on. Anything else?
Someone's asking, what do I
Well,
do? I don't do shit. Anything else?
well, someone's asking if we're going to be doing any more sceneries in the future.
So
Oh,
the
yeah.
answer to that is yes. Demas is actually working on Randolph Air Force Base. I don't know when it's going to be ready because he has a full-time job and I think children. So, you know, he's doing it in his off hours. But the stuff that he sent us looks freaking awesome. You know, it's Demas, right? I mean, he is definitely one of the best. So, you know, I don't know when it'll be released. But I do know that when it is released, it'll be very, very cool. Right? Next.
Someone asked, would we ever consider producing aircraft for DCS?
We've knocked on the door several times over the past 3-4 years, and they have not responded. You know, we'd like to do DCS. You know, there are certain aircraft that we cannot do for DCS due to, you know, contractual issues, right? So, you know, I don't know enough about the ecosystem as it stands now in DCS. Short answer, I don't see why we would not if, you know, Ed answered our calls, but they're not answering our calls. So, you know, that's it. Next.
I think that's about it.
All right. So, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us on this journey. Merlin will be back later on next week to do the first of our Dev Diary series. And DeAndre and I will show up again sometime in the next couple of months for another SOTS. And hopefully, we will not have any technical issues. And we didn't actually have any technical issues today. So,
we did with the looping. For some reason, they were working and then they weren't working. So,
yeah, that's minor though. You know, I can live with that. All right. Anyway, all right. So, thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bing, bang, boom. We're out.
We're out. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.